Hey there, Harp family, and welcome back. I hope you had a lovely week thus far, and hopefully you've also had a moment to go check out the latest blog post, which was titled, for this week, it's Male Survivors of Sexual Abuse. And this covers discussions on the unwanted sexual experiences involving acquaintances, institutions, friends and family, and sometimes even one's own intimate partner. Yeah? And when it comes to sexual assault, most people forget that males fall victim too, right? At least 1 in 6 boys have been sexually abused or assaulted, and that's according to statistics by 1 in 6. And RAINN statistics reflect that men account for approximately 10% of reported rape incidents. Now, these are just the reported incidents, not all, rape incidents. Keep that in mind. For those of you who are unaware, RAINN stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. Right? Yes, and you can find out more information at rainn.org. That's RAINN.org. And so the stigma and silence that surrounds male sexual abuse is what fuels, the lack of awareness and understanding, towards the effects of such incidents. And this affects how folks transition from victimhood to being survivors, right? And this is important. This is important in the healing process because unwanted sexual experiences in boys and men is very difficult to identify or even acknowledge. And this makes it difficult to, comfortably discuss or even share with others, including your trained professional, right? They find it difficult to share with the folks who are ideally supposed to help them. And being able to speak about the incident is a key step in the healing process, right? Because it's important to talk about it so that you know what you need to unpack. And as mentioned before in the previous post, abuse victims often carry behavioral responses to the trauma inflicted upon them. And, in this case, for our male survivors, this could include, rocky relationships, unstable employment or academic experiences, self-destructive behavior, depression, and sometimes even violence. Like these are simply, self-preservation tactics. However, we must remember that sexual abuse is the result of abusive behavior that aims to take advantage of a person's vulnerability, right? It is an abusive behavior by the perpetrator that is intended to take advantage of a person's vulnerability, which is typically the victim. And this is in no way related to one's sexual orientation or preferences. Zero, okay? It's simply a power play where the abuser, the perpetrator, is trying to exert, their, power over a more vulnerable person. It is also very important to note that boys and men can be sexually assaulted by both straight men and women, although most people rarely, presume that it is a woman or it's a female perpetrator. But this happens. It's a reality. And so we need to talk about it. So here we are. Okay? And so many boys end up suffering compounded harm when the adults around them refuse to believe them or offer help to deal with the aftermath of, abuse and assault. By us talking about it and, being able to discuss how to be better listeners and be better support systems to those who might, come to us and share these experiences, it's important to know how to respond, in a way that is meaningful and helpful, right? Remember, validating the abuse and the inflicted trauma does not alter the victim's masculinity or gender or sexuality. If anything, it eases the shame that comes with this, experience of feeling like a victim, right? And it reassures them that they don't have to tough it out, that they can talk about it, that it is okay for them to begin the tough process of unpacking the experience and their journey to healing. Because healing is a lifelong journey, right? Especially when it comes to these experiences. Healing is a lifelong journey. And if we are to raise well-adjusted men, right, we must first nurture well-adjusted boys and girls. But we're talking about boys right now, right? It is important to nurture well-adjusted boys so that we can have well-adjusted grown men, right? Simple. And so we can do so by encouraging consent-based language from a very early age, right? And along with that, we need to, encourage and maintain healthy personal boundaries. It sounds simple, but apparently it's not. Okay. Oftentimes people assume consent only comes in when we're talking about sex. No, consent comes in if you got a body, you have a right to consent. And so it is important to, encourage, especially from a young age, for our young ones to understand the difference between, touching that is acceptable and touching that is unacceptable, and allow them to, express their bodily autonomy and sovereignty in a healthy and meaningful way. Because consent is essential, right? It is fundamental, it is necessary, and it is very sexy if you're doing it right. Okay. And so, it is essential for us to raise boys and girls who fundamentally understand the importance of giving and receiving consent. It is important. It is important. It is important. In and out of the boudoir experiences, it is important to, raise young ones who grow into adults in society who understand the fundamental, essential, nature of consent, right? Because then we'd have a much, safer and happier society, period, right? Yeah. And that's that. And so if, as always, this is your reminder that if you witness or experience, incidents of harassment or assault, don't forget to document it and report it. Definitely harp it, because it's important for us to have statistics that more accurately reflect what is actually going on out in our respective societies. It's important. And if you'd like to stay updated on this and related topics, including statistics, reports, all that good stuff, connect with us on our social media platforms at harpnow.org. That's HARPNOW.org. And so until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and stay healthy, okay? Please stay healthy out there, and wherever possible, share your privilege and harp it. All right. Ciao, guys.